Hey, how many times have you caught yourself daydreaming about your dream life or your dream relationship? What could have been, only then to get disappointed in reality? Well, that's the problem with idealizing your dreams without staying in the present moment. And it applies to things, all range of things, including fantasizing about relationships before they've been fully materialized. Very easy to do. I'm sure we've all done it. Fantasizing about, say, a new business goal or something like this, or fantasizing about moving to a new city or a new job. There are a whole range of areas where you can over idealize a situation before it's become true. And part of the reason for this is because in our brains we have this selective focus, reticular activation system. And I think this is the good thing, right? Because focusing on your goals and what you want, whether that is wanting a relationship with this person or wanting this career to work out or this business idea to work out, is a really solid thing to do. But just doing that, one of the issues is we have this thing called our confirmation bias. We focus too much on the idealization, the end, which is actually in the gap, as what Dan Sullivan says, in the gap and the gain. Instead of measuring backwards based on progress, based on what you have actually achieved, you look into what you don't have and you're idealizing it. If you're doing that, your confirmation bias will look for reasons to confirm that, and you'll start to ignore. So I think this is where, like in relationships, you'll start to idealize a person and ignore red flags and things like this. Very, very easy, right? And the issue is, right, you should never fall for a fantasy that hasn't yet become, because, don't fall for what could be, because that is a big problem. I'm going to give you a few examples of where I've seen this. These are real examples. I'm not going to name the people. Some of them might even be me. But in relationships, we've talked about that. I'm sure everyone's been there. I have too. Even now, like everything that you learn about relationships, the problem is it's all emotional, and we tend to have love is blind and all this. We can get a clouded judgment. And we over idealize someone that we really like without looking for signs that they actually like us in return. Right? And I think unrequited love, which is where you love someone at your own risk, knowing that you may not get loved back in return, that's not a bad thing if you understand it and you can handle it and you're fully aware of it. But it's where you're doing that and clearly ignoring the signs, probably not getting treated in the same way back, that if you're not mentally prepared, you can become hurt from it. And you can also become hurt from starting new career goals or life goals, and setting goals without a proper plan of action and working towards your goals daily in the moment. If you're just fantasizing without staying in the moment and making small steps each day, your goals are just dreams basically, because you're not actually working towards them. And you can get hurt from that too. There's nothing worse than having your life goals absolutely shattered. Feels very bad. I've spoke to a few people who try and help them start businesses. And, I'm not like the world's biggest business guru, but I have started a couple of businesses and I've seen a lot of the same things happen. I've tried to advise people to do things that are quite hard, things like getting the marketing in order, making sure they get an audience, making sure all the elements of, say, like I did a video on how I created the e-commerce business. And even that was very difficult. With everything I know about business, you find new things. This is the problem. You go into business, you start creating a business, or it's the same for a career, and you can't see everything, right? And your confirmation bias is looking for certain things, and you start to ignore some of the pitfalls, and then they hit you in the face. Obviously, from that point, to be successful, you've got to push through and carry on and overcome all these little challenges and pitfalls that sort of land on your lap. But when you can speak to someone from experience and get a bit of knowledge, you ought to listen. And I've seen situations where I've tried to help people, and maybe they've took me seriously, maybe they haven't. Things like what they need to do on the website. E-commerce was an example. A guy I know started an e-commerce brand. Great. There was lots of things missing from his plan that I sort of helped him with. And I'm not sure he followed that. And then next minute, he stated in an email that he's going to shelve it. And I thought, okay, I wonder why. I'm going to get in touch with him and find out. But I've seen this a few times with, even in my tech business, other people trying to start software businesses, over idealizing success. If you don't have passion for what you're doing in terms of your career or your business, it's probably going to fail, because it will take longer than you think, and it will get fed up. And unless you have that resilience, that grit and that passion, and the grit generally comes from the passion because you really want it to work. If you don't have that, it's going to fail. Likely to fail, unless you get very lucky, because you'll get fed up with it, because the results will take longer. And the amount of people I've seen do this and end up shelving projects and get a bit disheartened by it all. And then what can happen? So let's, whether it is like a business failure or a relationship failure, or maybe someone didn't like you as much as you liked them and the relationship didn't happen. Every failure can actually affect your mentally going forwards. Every time you come up against that same challenge, you're going to think about what happened in the past, and your brain is going to be looking for more reasons to confirm the same thing again. This happens all over the place. It's basically our focus is looking for certain things, and what we really should be doing is staying in the moment, creating a plan, staying in the moment and working towards our goals, and focusing on what we can do each day. So this is what happens when you fantasize or idealize on a result that hasn't happened yet, on a success, on an outcome, instead of focusing on staying in the moment and what you can do each day to make it happen. Because you can create your own luck. People that get successful, they create their own luck. How do they do that? Well, they create the conditions for good luck by doing the right things every day. Right? Now, the mental focus is very important. There are two components to success. The first is what you focus on. Yeah. So you need that goal, you need that target, something to aim at. It's what you build your identity around, that thing. But your second part is aligned action, and your aligned action is daily. This is daily actions. This is why I always say should focus on what are the top 3 things that I can do today that can help me achieve my goals. So you want to focus, you want to set your focus, create that identity. That's what I want. This is me. And then each day, work towards it. Remain in the moment. Each day, small actions. That goal on the horizon, try not to measure the gap of what you don't have. Measure backwards, as what Dan Sullivan says in his book, The Gap in the Game. Measure progress, right? This is why I always write things down. I use a journal, set my goals, 3 things I'm doing every day, write some gratitude, and I'm off. And I tick them off. I go tick, tick, tick. And I know as long as I do them 3 things each day, working towards my goals, I'm getting a little bit closer. And then, in 6 months' time, I can read it and measure backwards, measure all that progress. Because big goals take a long time, even relationships. So let's have a look at the relationship example. Instead of fantasizing, I know what it's like. I'm a guy, you meet a cute girl, and immediately within seconds, you're like thinking about, imagine if we're going on all these holidays and having this fantastic relationship, maybe even long-term future, like, she could be my wife and all that. Very easy for guys to do that, right? And I know girls do this, but I think, to be fair, I think guys are more guilty of fantasizing because women are so pretty, aren't they? Unless you're like me. Focusing on that sort of long term, ahead of the game, instead of just when you're going on that date and it's early in a relationship, just focus on that one moment, right? And almost say to yourself, you know what? I might never see this girl again. And that's okay. I'm just going to enjoy this moment. And then the next moment, and the next moment, and just enjoy each moment for what it is. You know, if there is a next time, fair enough. If there isn't, what have you lost? You know what I mean? But you're not fantasizing. It's very difficult. So why is it difficult? It doesn't matter whether it's relationships or business. It hurts. Failure. Because everything that we want in life comes from either pain or pleasure, right? So it's all emotional. We act on emotion. Yes, we use logic to justify our decisions, but all action is taken based on an emotional goal. So the vision, you know, the focus is almost chosen by our emotions. The danger with that is our emotions get in the way. We over idealize and fantasize. So the next time you meet that cute person that you like, or the next time you want to make a big life change, like create a new career or a life goal, just remember to stay in the moment. Yes, set the target, create the vision, create the identity, right? Then create a set of goals that will deliver that identity, set of actions, and then start working towards them, doing 3 small things a day. And stay in the moment. And then eventually, you'll get your result, because all results happen by having a goal, having a vision, or something to focus on, and aligned action over a long period of time. And don't get disillusioned. Measure backwards. Measure progress. Am I closer to my goal today than I was yesterday? Have I had one more successful date with that person? Yes. Don't get ahead and don't start idealizing, thinking you're in a relationship. Just have another one. Another step forward. Arrange the next date. Same with the business idea. Have I created this step in my business? Have I, got the finances? Have I got the website? Have I got the product sorted? Whatever it might be, reach out to people that you know that can help you. There's a lot of people that have probably been there before. This is why I like using mentors. Take their advice, listen to them, stay in the moment, start working towards your goals. So, let me know what you think. Have you had any stories where you've had your dreams absolutely shattered? Maybe you're idealizing a goal and it smacked you back in the face. We've all been there, whether it is in business or with a relationship or something like that that's not worked out. Let me know. All your comments. Everyone loves a good failure story. Or maybe you've got some success. Maybe you've worked it out after a few failures. You've learned and you've took things on board and you're now getting success. Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and see you all next time.